Hey guys, it's Riley. Today we're going to be talking about how much it costs to buy a home in 2022. The first thing that I want to communicate in regards to buying a home today is you're most likely going to need money out of your own pocket. So what this means is you may have had a family member or friend in the past buy a home and they had a no money down program, and it was great. We got into a house, we didn't pay anything out of pocket. Today we're in a much heavier seller's market than we were a few years back, and what that means is sellers get to be a lot more pickier with their offers that they get because there's multiple offers. With that being said, these home buyer programs can sometimes slow up the process. Maybe the appraisal process is a little bit different, maybe the loan structure is a little bit different. So it makes it a little bit longer, or it brings a few more obstacles within the transaction. With that being said, sellers don't want that. They want the most convenient offer that there is, highest money, the shortest close, the offer that stands out. And those home buying programs are not necessarily going to be the ones that really catch the seller's eye unless they are pricing it strong and they aren't getting offers because they've priced it so strong. So in regards to that, you're going to have some money out of pocket. But with that being said, there are a lot of misconceptions when it comes to money down, your closing costs, your down payment, the entire costs. And one of those misconceptions is I need 20% down to buy a home. You don't need 20% down to buy a home. But we'll get into the down payment a little bit later on. We're going to be talking about two different types of costs when it comes to buying a house. One is going to be fixed costs, something that you're going to have to pay every transaction, and one is going to be down payment. It's going to be, that variable, that 3% down all the way up to 20% if you want. Depends on kind of your situation and what you want your monthly payment to be. So I'm going to talk about the fixed cost, the down payment, as well as the monthly mortgage. And so the example is going to be a $400,000 house with 3% down and a 5.5% mortgage, which is around average right now. It's an estimate, it's not exact, and I'll go ahead and put that up on the screen when we're there. So let's jump right into the fixed costs. The first fixed cost that we're going to need in a transaction is going to be your earnest money deposit. This comes right off the bat, right when you get under contract on a house. You're going to need to put down at least 1 to 2% of this good faith deposit, showing to the seller that, hey, I'm serious. I have some skin in the game. I'm showing you this is a good faith deposit. I want to be a part of this transaction. And again, that's usually around 1 to 2%. So on a $400,000 house, I like to do, I'd write it up around $5,000 for the earnest money deposit. So we're going to say $5,000 is your earnest money deposit. This earnest money deposit is not just a fixed cost that vanishes into thin air that you have to pay. It's something that will be credited back to you towards your down payment. So in that example of a 3% down of a $400,000 house, you put in $5,000 earnest money. The difference there is going to be what, $8,000? So $7,000. This earnest money deposit is due usually within 2 business days of getting under contract. The next fixed cost that we're going to talk about is going to be a home inspection. You as a buyer are going to want a home inspection no matter what. Especially if you're a first-time home buyer, you're gonna want to know what is wrong with the house that you're buying, all the different things. And what a home inspection does is it gives you the ability to understand exactly the condition that the house is in so that you can know what you're getting into. This inspection period is usually going to be around 10 days for Arizona, unless specified otherwise. And a normal cost, I would say, is going to be, this is an estimate as well, we're going to say $500 for a home inspection. You can go ahead and get rates from other inspectors. You don't have to necessarily go with the inspector that your realtor recommends. You can shop it around, maybe go with someone who's going to be a little bit cheaper, or maybe you want a very, 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 very thorough inspection and you want someone who's going to be a little bit more expensive. It's really up to you. Usually the one that the realtor recommends is going to be someone who is good because it reflects upon them if they're recommending a service, right? So I have a home inspector that I use with every transaction. He does a really good job, provides like a 27-page report, had it on my own house. He's a great guy that I recommend every single transaction I have. So, but again, you don't have to go with the one that the realtor recommends. You can shop it around if you'd like. So we're going to say $500 for the home inspection. The next fixed cost that we're going to talk about is going to be the appraisal. appraisal. And I'm gonna put a little asterisk by this because some lenders, as a value add, will include this in their service. So they'll pay for the appraisal. A lot of times I'm seeing lenders not pay for the appraisal though, and the buyers pay for the appraisal. This appraisal is usually around $500 as well. So that's gonna be an estimate, but we're gonna say $500 for the appraisal. And what it does is it makes sure that the bank knows that the asset that they're lending on is worth what you're paying. So if 97% of the asset is being loaned against on a $400,000 house, they want to make sure that, hey, this is really worth $400,000. And right now, we're actually in a transfer in the market where it's becoming a little bit more healthy. It's becoming a little bit less of a seller's market. So we're getting less offers on houses, still multiple offers, especially if it's competitively priced and a good house, has a lot of upgrades, still multiple offers. But 6 months ago, if you wanted to get into any house, you're gonna have to waive appraisal. You're gonna have to come up with cash on top of the appraisal to really make sure to get the deal done. Because if it only appraises for $400,000, the bank won't lend on anything else. Say if you wanted it for $440,000, you're gonna have to come up with that $40,000 extra on top of the appraised price if you want it for that price. So you still can get the appraisal and make sure that you pay appraised price just because we are having more inventory come to market. The next fixed costs that I'm going to be showing you are costs like costs that your lender charges you that are going to show up on the settlement statement, that the title company charges you, your insurance premium, prorated taxes, maybe HOA transfer fees, stuff like that. And so I'm going to go through this example of this settlement statement and blur out kind of information that we don't need to go over. But these costs are going to be, basically 1 to 3% usually of the house price. That's what you're going to probably factor in to how much you're going to pay for a home in closing costs. So closing costs are something that you can't really get around. But in the past, there has been a season where you can ask the seller to pay your closing costs in order to buy the house. And why sellers would do that in the past is because it wasn't such a seller's market. They want to get the house off their hands. They're paying appraised price. They're paying what it's worth, but they can't afford all these closing costs, maybe 10, 15 grand out of pocket. So the seller will pay these so that they can sell the house and make sure that this house gets transferred, it gets sold. But in this example, we're gonna be going over a settlement sheet, and it shows the different, I got it just off screen here, it shows the different costs that are gonna be associated to buying a house. So one is gonna be new loan. So this is gonna be your lender fee. So you can see in this example, there's all sorts of fees. There's a credit report fee, processing fee, underwriting fee, all these fees that go along with the origination of a new loan. You can see in this circumstance, it equals $4,156.56. The next fixed costs on this settlement statement are title charges. You can see there all the different charges and fees that go along with it, but that's gonna be $2,090. Now we're gonna be talking about the government recording and transfer charges. That's just the recording of the county. It costs money to do that. Not much, it's $60. Then we have additional settlement charges, HOA fees, stuff like that. That came out to $31,4450. So in total closing costs, in this example of this settlement statement, this buyer paid $10,447.51. And so you can see that's going to be somewhere between the 1 to 3% of the house costs. Usually, I think this is around 2.5% of the house cost. So this is no small chunk of change. This is $10,000 that you're going to need extra on top of your down payment. So that's really going to finish up the fixed costs of a transaction. It's going to be your appraisal, your inspection. Both of those were around $500, so we'll say around $1,000 for those. Your earnest money deposit, which is $5,000, as well as the fixed costs that we just went over. In this case was $10,447.50. In total, that brings the total of those fixed costs to $17,447.50. So this brings us into our next cost segment, which is our down payment. Our down payment is going to be 3% of $400,000, which is $12,000. But again, we have to remember, what did we do in the beginning of this transaction? We had an earnest money deposit. So that $5,000 earnest money deposit is going to be credited towards our down payment. Therefore, we only owe $7,000 more on top of that. This brings our total estimated cost of buying a $400,000 house with 3% down to $24,447.50. This isn't the end of the conversation though when it comes to the total amount of money that you need, because your lender is likely going to want to see reserve funds. These reserve funds are funds that basically show, hey, they can go through a few months and pay their bills. They've got maybe another 10 grand in their bank. They can pay their mortgage payment on time. We know that this isn't all the money that they have in the world. So likely, I would just estimate maybe another $10,000 on top of that. So that brings our new estimated cost number with reserve funds to $34,447.50. Let's go into the mortgage payment now to see how much money you're going to be paying monthly for a house like this. As you can see, we have a $400,000 home price. We have a 3% down payment of $12,000, a loan term of 30 years, and our interest rate auto-populated at 5.44%. I know I said 5.5% earlier. This is what the auto population happened, so this is the number we're going to go with, 5.44%. We can see the monthly payment breakdown as the principal and interest payment is going to be $2,188 a month. We have a property tax number of $120 a month, homeowners insurance $66, and then PMI of $150. PMI is basically just an insurance for the bank because you didn't put 20% down. So that brings your total monthly payment to this $400,000 house with 3% down to $2,524 per month. Well, that's all we have for today in regards to how much it costs to buy a house in 2022. Thank you so much for watching this video. I very much appreciate it. I hope you learned something new in this video, and if you have any questions at all, please put them in the comment section down below or reach out to me via text or phone. My information is down in the description, as well as my partner Clay's. My name's Riley Rhodes with Team CR Realty, where Arizona real estate is seen.